weird facial expression was caught as I clicked the buttons there to say hello, as I rushed in, running practically, into the hospital. The sliding doors opened. I rushed into the lobby. Boom, 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 boom. What's the first thing I see? I'm not drunk. I'm gonna go to work. I got patients to see. This hospital would have been closed without me. It's very embarrassing to see the GH staff acting like this.
Well, thank goodness. Well, thank goodness that he didn't he almost did take a shot before he left for the hospital. Thought about it, took it out of the cabinet, set it down.
No. See, that was the crux. We'll get into it.
Probably
We'll
not.
get into it after the interruptions. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the 10th floor. It's me, Matt.
Hi, everybody. It's Kat.
And
See, we already started talking.
Here we are, excited to talk about the GH week and excited to say hello to everybody in chat because it's never just us, Ma. We got a full contingent. We got people ready, waiting, and willing to hang out with us on the 10th floor. Chandra's back. Hi, Chandra.
Hi, Chandra.
Sandra is here. Lashunta. Hello, Lashunta.
Is that an... I don't recall hearing that
the name
name
either.
before.
It's your first time, Lashunta. Hello, and phonetically type your name into the chat so I can make sure I read it correctly. Carolyn is here. Sandra. Who else? Kelly. Hello, Kelly. Public over. And, yeah, that's it. That's it for now. Hi, welcome. Jeannie. Hello, Jeannie. Jeannie. Thank you for joining us here on the 10th floor. I know that
everybody.
We were not available for Days for Dummies because Mom was having too much fun.
Yeah, you guys, I'll tell you what I did last night. My daughter is a huge Backstreet Boys
Biggest
fan.
in the world. Posters,
yeah,
books.
I've seen them 10 times.
Concerts, CDs, meet and greets.
We even went on a 3-day Caribbean cruise with the Backstreet Boys. Some years back.
Right. You did do a cruise with the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, they practically know her by face now.
They should. By golly. So last night, of course, NSYNC is not touring right now. Neither is the Backstreet Boys. However, AJ McLean, my daughter's favorite Backstreet Boy, the one that's supposed to be my son-in-law,
with the hat. You know, he was the rocker. He was the.
He's the bad boy.
He was the bad boy.
Vibe.
That's right. Right. You know,
he's
with
the
bad
boy kind of
vibe.
vibe.
The denim and the piercings and the tattoos.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Joey Fatone from NSYNC. They're doing a summer tour together.
Joey Fatone, he could tour on his own with singing and comedy, and people would flock to it.
It was kind of a combination of that. It had a little comedy in it, and then they did a lot of NSYNC songs. They did a lot of Backstreet Boys songs. They had a fabulous band behind them with horn section and everything. And yes, Joey Fatone is quite talented.
He's very talented. He's a super big personality too.
Yes, he is.
When it comes to like side projects for NSYNC, I think Joey Fatone has had the most. Eliminating Justin Timberlake, who was the superstar of the group.
Yes.
Of the people that weren't Justin Timberlake, Joey Fatone was the second most successful after the band, in my opinion. So
it was really fun. It was really fun. We went to the Thunder Valley in Lincoln, California.
Casino and Resort.
Yeah, Thunder Valley in Lincoln, California, which is closer to Sacramento than it is to me, I would say. It took an hour and a half to drive there, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty up there.
Yeah.
Pretty north.
Our local casino event center is called Shoe Mash. I see lots of commercials for Shoe Mash, and Engelbert Humperdinck coming to Shoe Mash. Daniel Tosh coming to Shoe Mash. It won't be long before Donny Osmond comes to Shoe Mash.
Oh, I'm sure he will. You might check their schedule this summer. He is on a summer tour. He may very well be there.
I'd be surprised.
He's gonna be in Modesto in August again.
Modesto of all places.
Yeah, he was.
Are you gonna go?
No, I didn't go last year either. And Donny Osmond was there on my damn birthday last year.
Oh my gosh! Hey everybody, Super Chat is available if you want to donate to the store and send to the show and send my ma over to the Donny Osmond concert that's coming in Modesto soon. Let those donations fly.
So yeah, I didn't plan on, but I've seen Donny Osmond 4 times.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot. I mean, you've seen him less than the Backstreet Boys at this point now, though.
Yes, I've seen him less than the Backstreet Boys, but then my local band that I was a groupie for when I was a kid, I've
Papa-doo,
seen them 75 times.
Papa-doo, Papa-doo.
Yep. I've seen them 75 times.
Well, Chandra knows what she's doing. She says hello, she's brought the snacks, and she also suggests that everybody click the like button. So if you enjoyed our little chit-chat about NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys and a little Donny Osmond, we like to sprinkle a little Donny Osmond anywhere we can here on the 10th floor. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that. Hey, Ma, you know what I did recently? Since we're talking about life, I'm going to tie it into General Hospital.
Okay.
I met this lady, this actress. Her name is Eliza Roberts. But that wasn't always her name. I don't remember her name when she was acting more consistently. But I met a lady here in Los Angeles who used to be on General Hospital. She played a woman named Denise in the early 80s. It didn't seem like it was a big part, but it was enough to have a name and some lines.
Yeah, and I don't recall that.
She apparently, Kelly with her donation, Canadian dollars. Thank you again, Kelly. She loves NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. Dance Mama Cat, she says.
Oh, I did dance. Oh, yes, I did.
You danced. You got your little booty up and you shook it.
I did. I shook my groove thing good and hard.
Hi, Melinda. Welcome, welcome. So I met this woman, Eliza Roberts. She used to be on General Hospital. She was on General Hospital in the 80, 81, something like that. During some sort of problem for Luke and Laura, she played a witness that had to testify in a court case, and it was enough to have a name.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I met that lady, and the reason why, so I was doing a little Uber driving to, supplement the income, because that's what we do here in Los Angeles, trying to keep your schedules available and open for stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing that, and I picked up her assistant, because she's a mover and shaker in Hollywood still, mother. So I picked up her assistant and took the assistant to her destination and all that, but had a chance to talk to Eliza, and the whole GH.
Raise your voice a little bit.
Raise my voice a little bit.
Yeah, you're getting whispery.
I like to whisper. It's dramatic. So
I just want everybody to hear you.
So I met this lady, and so basically I was wearing my Savoy t-shirt, and she goes, "Wow, what a colorful shirt!" And I said, "Oh yeah, this is actually a shirt from the soap opera General Hospital. I do a podcast with my mother, as I like to talk about." And she goes, "Oh, I was on that show, yada yada yada." And the most interesting part, not even the most interesting part, because this lady's pretty interesting herself. But the reason why I decided to say, "Oh, this is from the show General Hospital, and I do a podcast with my mom," is because she was standing next to her husband. The very famous Eric Roberts.
Yes. That's a very famous, he's famous in his own right, and he's got a famous family.
He's got a very famous, he's Julia Roberts' brother, I believe. He's the father of Emma Roberts. It's just the Roberts acting family.
Yes.
And he's actually one of the most prolific actors in Hollywood with over 600 credits to his name, which is insane.
That's a lot.
That means he's constantly always working on multiple projects.
Yes.
Including right now and today. Narrations, voiceovers, acting, all sorts of different stuff.
So he didn't take the Uber, but he was standing with his wife?
Yeah, but he was standing with his wife, and they were saying goodbye to the assistant because they're very close friends and family and all of that stuff. And so, and then she just chatted me up the whole time, just talking. I barely had to say anything, but you know how these people are.
They like us. They can just talk, huh?
They can just talk, So all I had to do is go, "Oh, wow, oh, wow, how does that make you feel?" All that sort of stuff, and it kept on going. Anyway, good time. It was a really interesting experience to come across somebody just randomly who had been on General Hospital Mother, and that is not it, all right? We're going to get into the details of the show here in a second, but I had another GH encounter.
Another GH encounter?
Another GH encounter.
What was it?
So I was driving this mother and this daughter to her school, and you know what she was doing?
Was she gonna?
She was going home
for something.
She was going home, and we were talking, and she mentioned, because it was in the hills, a beautiful big house, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I would love to live in a neighborhood like this one day, but it's never gonna happen," right? And then the mom was like, "Oh, it could happen. You never know what's gonna happen to you tomorrow." And then her daughter goes, "Yeah, you wouldn't think it. I live next to a writer for television." And I said, "Oh, really? What show do they write for?" And her answer was, It's the show called General Hospital.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, what? What's the person's name? And she said the person's name is something Elias or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know that name. So it wasn't one of the head writers.
Right.
Anyway, that's my little LA adventure for everybody who cares.
So whoever the writer was for General Hospital, that person, like you said, it was a little bit of a swanky neighborhood.
Yeah, it was definitely a bit of a swanky neighborhood.
Good
They've
for
been doing
them.
it for a bit, probably. Anyway, so I said, hey, hey, follow us on Twitter. It's 10th Floor. Follow us on Instagram, all that. So they followed us on the socials, and the neighbor said, I'll see if he wants to be on your show.
I tell you what, like you don't know what a day's going to bring you. You don't. And you don't know what Uber might bring you either. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
It's very cool. It's a lot more fun than the water company, huh?
It's a lot more fun than, well, you never know who you're going to run into. Like I ran into just another person today. I picked him up in the hills once again after some clearly wild party. This person said that he was still kind of rolling a little bit on the extracurriculars. Had still had a Bud Light.
Be careful out there with that.
Yeah. I mean, it was the morning. This is a very, very strange exception. It was a Sunday morning, which is the reason why I came across. So I picked him up, Hollywood Hills, all that kind of stuff. Still had a Bud Light in his hand, all that kind of nonsense. And he's like, so what's your dream? And I'm like, what? So what's your dream? You're in Los Angeles. You came here with a dream. What is it? And I'm like, this guy clearly has some friends and some money. All right, let me talk this man up. And he had a look, he had like hair and like was kind of like a punk, but like clearly a rich one, like a musician. I want to say, kind of, anyway, musician, producer, writer. I don't know exactly what his name is. His name is Ralph. First name Ralph. Didn't get the last name. But anyway, he's like, so what's your dream? And I'm like, to make money off my voice, sir. And he's like, well, then do it. Do it. Do some voices for me right now. Do some voiceover. Because it was a trip that was like 5 minutes down a hill. And I'm like, okay. So I did. And I did Victor Cassadine for him. And I did Little Sunny Corinthos. And then here, like put on a little, goofy little Drew type accent and all sorts of different little things. And I just kept on talking in different ways, shapes, and form for this 5-minute drive down the hill, taking him to his other massive mansion property.
Okay.
And then at the end, he plays the recording that he did on his phone of my voice. And he goes, I think you got what it takes. And I'm like, okay. It's like, you should pursue it. He goes, did you see that movie with Jamie Foxx and Tom Cruise, where Jamie Foxx was Tom Cruise's driver? And I'm like, yeah, the movie's called Collateral. And he goes, you could do that role. You could be Jamie. And I'm like, all right, get out of here, you high person. Anyway.
But anyway, is it weird? Yeah, it's weird. But you know what? At the same time, though, Matt, that's encouraging.
It is. It is. People have a good time in the short little rides that I give them. And again, networking, like Chandra just said, yep, that's how you do it. Networking.
Yeah.
And you network in any way you can. It doesn't have to be a class. It doesn't have to be any sort of thing. You just, I don't know, put on a friendly face and try real hard. That's my suggestion.
Absolutely. Matt, you get your Uber and butt out there.
Who knows? Just continue to hang out in the Bel Air area, Calabasas and such, and who knows who I'm going to be driving around.
Well, that sounds super damn fun to me.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very validating experience time after time after time. So, anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And then also, you guys, he didn't speak to him, but who did you run into at the damn gas station?
I saw Sam Elliott at the damn gas station. This was super fun. This was super fun because I see him, right, and he's pumping gas into his car. And then I see him, right, and I'm not 100% sure if it's Sam Elliott, so my gaze lingers probably a little longer than it should. Mm-hmm. He notices me looking at him, and he's got the pump in the car, and then he does this.
Like what you looking at?
like just turning away from me.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, so I closed my door and I left. But yeah,
well, Sam Elliott's got a very distinctive look. I mean, it would be kind of hard to like miss him for somebody else.
I'm 95% sure that this was Sam Elliott or just some other older gentleman with a mustache who just really looked like him.
And and what kind of car was he driving?
Oh, some fancy Beamer type of truck thing.
Okay.
You know, like not a Tesla, but you know, something.
Oh, well, God,
that's for sure.
good Lord. I hope he doesn't have one of those Tesla
They're
trucks.
super ugly.
And well, yeah, and there's several you guys, I only live about 60 miles from the Tesla plant. There's lots of Tesla things are in my area, different Tesla things, because of manufacturing. It used to be a GM manufacturing facility, and it was there for years and years. Now that's where they make Teslas. So we see a lot of Teslas around here. California just packed full of Teslas. That pickup truck, I don't know what kind of dope that person was smoking when they drew up that, but damn,
They just
you
like
better
make
lay
it,
off.
whatever, print it, put it in production. I
It's
don't
so
care. Just get
ugly.
it out there. It's very bad.
It is so ugly.
Very bad. Thank everybody for enjoying this 15 minutes of the life roundup. This is mom and son talking about life as well.
It is. But you know what we do? I tell you, we can't get too far into this without talking about Finn.
No,
man.
No, that was my beautiful transition to jump off of life and into the show, this fantasy fake world of General Hospital that we love so much.
Mm-hmm.
That we love to throw ourselves into and overanalyze week after week here on the 10th floor. So let's see.
I have one more thing to say.
One more. Go ahead, Mom.
Before we move on. One more life thing. Because just because, okay? You guys, I'm a prisoner to this house today. It's 106 here today.
Yeah, it's too hot.
Oh, that's why I didn't apply no heat to my head this morning. That's why I got my curls going. Because man, no way, I was no way gonna apply no heat to anything today.
Enjoy Mama's natural hair texture, everybody.
Yeah, I got some natural little curls. So yeah, there's no way I was blowing nothing on here today. Ooh, it's hot. That's all. All right, General Hospital.
Thank you, Chandra and Melinda and Stephanie and everybody who had positive things to say about my attempts into networking into Hollywood. Everybody go for the ride. Who knows? Maybe one day you're going to hear my voice on some sort of AT&T commercial. For $19.99, new customers only. Sign up now.
Yes. Yes, please.
And wonderful enough, Kelly missed GH this week, asked what happened. Melissa has totally filled her in, which means I'm going to write some notes here.
Yeah, you should
make sure that we hit all of these topics. Let's jump into the deep end, Ma.
Okay.
Let's get it out of the way. Hamilton Finn.
Okay.
This man's a mess.
Deep end.
All right, he's drunk. Here's the thing. All right, he's drunk. And then I think you were saying already after we broadcast or just before we did about him looking at the shot glass and being like, maybe not, right? And then he goes to work without taking a drink. And he goes on to work. Oh my God, was that that was the tipping point, Mother? Holy smokes, was this the tipping point for Finn? That was Finn going, nah, I think I'm done. I'm ready to go back to life. Challenging. I know that it's gray area and people might have other interpretations of opinions and stuff, but for me that was Finn going, all right, I'm going back to work. I can't be drunk like this. I'm gonna put this down. People have had things to say to me. They're probably right. Let me go to work sober and take it from there.
I don't think that's what he would have done.
Well, he went to work sober.
If he got up, he's going to go to work, right, you guys? Mm-hmm. And he gets the bottle out, gets the bottle out of the cabinet, looks at the shot glass, changes his mind, decides to go on to work, which is good. I would have thought maybe, he was like, okay, I'm done. If he'd have poured it out.
Here's what it is, Ma. Maybe I misspoke. I didn't necessarily mean to give I'm putting this down and never picking it up again.
Mm-hmm.
But this was his chance to not be dead freaking drunk all day long, which is the first step to go, oh, maybe I should not do this anymore.
Yeah.
But because he didn't have that, because they took that away from him.
Yeah.
By being concerned, rightfully so, being concerned, he blows up. They don't even really have a chance to, get to some sort of common ground understanding about the situation because it's, hey, there's a problem. We're worried about the problem. The hospital would have been closed without me. Like,
you wouldn't even have a job.
there was no chance to really work it out between anybody. Now that's definitely Finn's fault. But I think though, I think if he was able to do his shift, it might have been a good step in the right direction for him. I do.
Well, maybe he would have been able to do his shift if he would have reacted differently to them. Maybe, maybe he would have been able to do his shift, but his reaction was hostility.
Yeah.
And they didn't say anything about, they were going to actually keep it. They weren't even going to go to the board.
No. They were just going to be like, hey, there's just been some chatter and concern, Mr. Finn.
Yeah. And yes, they did give him like, you're going to have to do this, and you're going to have to do this, and you're going to have to do this.
Yeah. And he wasn't having it. Chandra says Finn's fuse was ultra short, which unfortunately is realistic. Now that's the other side of the problem. Could he have gotten through his shift? Yeah. Would it have been challenging? Yeah. Could it have been the first step in the right direction for him? Yeah. But also at the same time, that fuse was very short. What if he did that to a patient? That would have been bad. I told you to take your medicine, Mr. Johnson.
Well, I being clear-headed, I don't think he would have done that. But being where he's responsible for people, actual lives.
Yeah.
They had to do that to him.
They had to do that to him. He might not have yelled at Mr. Johnson or anything, but that's a liability for sure.
No, he wasn't at the 7-Eleven, taking care of the Slurpee machine. That's not his job. His job is, taking care of human beings.
Yeah. Charlie saying that she completely agrees they were out of line. All they had was Liz's words and no action to act on. Not true action. But here's the thing, though. I mean, this liability, it's the hospital thing. It's the big question mark. He wasn't dead drunk and clocked in. But who knows? Who knows what could happen?
No, I don't think they came at, they came at him firm, but I thought they came at him with, like a genuine concern. Like they said, you're friends. And I don't think what they were asking him to do
was out of line at all.
No, it wasn't.
No. I think it's perfectly reasonable. But since he's not being a reasonable man right now, we didn't get a reasonable response for him. And now he's even deeper into the bottle because of those choices. They did approach him correctly. They did approach him like friends and not like bosses. They kept HR out of it. They were trying to come up to some sort of compromise and understanding between everybody. Because Finn is a well-respected doctor.
Yes.
Finn did just get off of a malpractice lawsuit.
But he is a well-respected doctor, a good doctor, a scientist as well. He's it, but at the same time, though, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how great you are. If you fall down drunk and can't be trusted not to be, well, then what about those values that you've cultivated are gone.
We just gotta, we're putting down the boundaries, the barriers, the line of expectation that we expect you to walk, Finn, so everybody's healthy, so everybody's happy, everybody's safe, and everybody gets to keep their career. Not so much.
And then what did he do? He went back home and got hammered drunk.
Got hammered, broke glasses, cut his hand, scared the daylights out of Violet.
Yes.
I think somebody in chat or on Twitter, I don't remember exactly where this came from, repeatedly said, I'm worried that Violet is going to be scared for Finn like she was scared for Gregory. She's going to think that what's happening with Finn is similar to what happened with Gregory. She's going to be worried that he's not going to wake up one day like Gregory didn't. And what happens this week? I was afraid he wasn't going to wake up like Grandpa.
Exactly.
Was the line out of Violet's mouth. And
oh my gosh,
for me, I really think that was one. Well, first of all, getting the call from Violet saying, "Hey, I think he's dead."
Yeah.
From Tracy. That is that of course was immediate. No, this is over.
Yes.
Going and seeing that situation, I understand that drunk isn't an emergency. You understand that. She doesn't. So,
I was surprised actually with how they played that, that the paramedics left him there.
Yeah. I mean,
I think what he needed was a bag of water shoved in his arm is what he needed.
Is it, I'm not a paramedic, so I really can't say one way or the other. So maybe somebody in chat with some real life experience can illuminate.
A drunk needs an IV.
Well, I mean, but also at the same time, I don't know how into things he could have just been super passed out. That doesn't necessarily mean that he needs an IV or anything like that. I think it's more likely than not you will be taken to the hospital if you call the ambulance.
Mm-hmm.
If they can't wake you up or whatever, like Tracy had to use smelling salts. I feel as though in the real world he would have been taken to the ER and had a saline bag, and then a doctor going, "Come on, buddy,
yeah,
be more responsible."
You guys, I'm sure a lot of you know, you go to an ER on a Friday and Saturday night, you're going to see a few drunks in there getting an IV. You are.
And then Chandra says, well, if Finn refused treatment, they can't force him to go. If he woke up for a second and said, no, 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 maybe. But we didn't see that. We just saw Tracy pretty much say, they left him here like this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Because also at the same time, like, yeah, there's real emergencies that these paramedics have to respond to. They can't just, sit and babysit a drunk person while somebody else is dying of a heart attack down the street.
That's absolutely correct.
So it's possible they had to go or needed to get back on their route or something.
But he was so wasted that he cut his hand and didn't even realize it.
Well, he cut his hand. He realized it. He realized it. He pulled that glass out of his hand. I remember he didn't. Well, there were a lot of scenes, but I remember the performance of Michael Easton because it is stellar. Oh my God. Yeah, our friends over on Suds in the Squared Circle, Vinny asked Professor Angela, why is it that Michael Easton waited until the end of his run to bring out such great material? And Angela's response was, it wasn't really up to him, Vinny. This is just him getting good content now. Mm-hmm. So I that's an important thing. It's an important thing, all Finn haters out there. Michael Easton finally has some really good content. Unfortunately, it's the end of the Finn character, it seems, on the show.
It appears that way. It appears that way. I don't know. It's not been confirmed, right?
Sprina. I haven't seen anything confirmed, but this stuff is never truly really confirmed until it's over,
Now they're saying the same thing about Mr. Sambranga.
Yeah, no, he's already responded to that saying, whoa, 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 whoa. This is called a mental health break, you guys. You know how I keep on leaving the show permanently? This is how I don't do that. No, relax. He's just taking a little break.
Oh, good.
He's got a family. He's got travel.
I hope he's going on vacation.
Plans.
He got a bunch of kids.
Doing this for 20 years. The man deserves a little break every once in a while, I think.
Sure, we all do.
Yeah. David loves Michael Eastman. Finn is a nasty drunk, says Sabrina. Michael Easton is killing it, says Charlie. Hi, David.
Finn's storyline is just so tragic.
It's really unfortunate and tragic. It's, people saying it's true to life, and there's a lot of it that is true to life, and then it's also desperately soapy. Violet walking in, Dad, calling Tracy's whole bit, her silent go-through of her own bag, where you can kind of just see the gears turning and the decisions that she's making, where she's kind of mulling over what she's gonna have to say to Finn. Before that, telling Chase in Brooklyn, you can't come because the stuff I have to say to Finn, nobody else should be able to hear because I'm gonna rip him to shreds on Monday.
Yeah, and she was so smart. She was so smart too, and she's just doing this for. No one's trying to. I don't think anybody's trying to punish Finn. They're trying to protect Violet. And Tracy taking those photos of the scene was very smart.
Yeah, because Finn doesn't have a clear memory of what it looks like, and now he's going to. Michael Easton, though, back on the good performance, and I remember him distinctly cutting his hand, pulling the glass out, and then passing out on the floor again, because Easton nailed that scene.
Mm-hmm.
The convincing nature of his bewildered drunkenness, the way that his hand slid on the coffee table from the spilled liquor, and how he reacted and looked and pulled, it was just so friggin' realistic and so friggin' good and so intently detailed.
It was.
It just, I understand that, that Finn may be on the way out. It really looks like Finn is on the way out with some sort of extreme long rehab.
He needs rehab like we need air.
He's gonna have to leave town. Clear, and then Violet's gonna live with Uncle Chase. We see that coming. But my God, he's gonna win an Emmy for this. Maybe. Those are hard to predict nowadays, but he might be even nominated for it with, being a year outside of the contract. And another thing too, though, Ma, about Michael Easton.
Mhm.
Finn might be on the way out, but that doesn't mean Michael Easton is.
Boy, ain't that the truth? He changed his face like Roger Howarth.
Yeah.
Changed his character, not his face. Yeah.
Excuse me.
It was very good. It is very soapy, and and everybody's reaction to his downward spiral right now. He wouldn't be getting as much attention if he didn't have Violet, the care of Violet.
No.
He's got a 9-year-old that he's responsible for, and she's not going to understand any of this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always a little iffy on that. What can a 9-year-old understand thing, but like the drunk is an emergency, she won't understand that. I think 9 might be old enough to start understanding what drunk is.
She would understand it, but not in just 2 days erratic behavior of your dad. Not in 2 days.
Well, so no, not in 2 days. And then on top of that too, Violet's growing attachment to having to be home, to supporting her dad, to basically fill what I'll just say like the feminine aspect.
I'm worried about him. She said it so many times.
I'm worried about him. So she's kind of stepping into like, don't be triggered by this, but she's stepping into like wife partner type of, I need to support him way more than a daughter should be supporting a father. I need to learn how to cook better. So, because if he had better food when he comes home that I make for him because I'm 9 years old, then he's going to be happier and he's going to be like it's stepping into another level of care that a daughter should not be doing. The father should be doing that for the daughter. Gotta make sure she's got a good thing. She's got a good meal. Well-rounded. Vegetables, protein, carbohydrates.
Her mind's going all over places right now. Like, how can I fix it? What can I do to make it better? What's happening?
I don't want him to be sad. Is it going to disappear like mommy? Is it going to die like grandpa?
Yeah, so tragic.
Yeah,
it's bad. Little Joe Fiel's doing pretty good.
Kicking butt.
Kicking butt, little girl.
Kicking butt. Let's see. Emmy, Michael Easton says David was up for an Emmy with his dependency story years ago. So maybe he's just Emmy magnet when it comes to acting like an addict. Violet is turning into a parental role. That's probably a more accurate thing to say than stepping up into whatever. Yeah, Violet is becoming for Finn what Finn was for Gregory at the end. It's very interesting, says Melissa, especially considering she thought she had the same end as her grandpa last she saw him. What if he doesn't wake up like grandpa? All that stuff. Poor little girl. She's likely going to be okay because at the end of the day, none of this is real.
No.
This is all the figments of our imaginations, folks.
And she's gonna go have some fun up at the Quartermain house.
Yeah, she's gonna have a good time. She's gonna and now Chase and BLQ are definitely gonna have to find a larger bedroom and space to stay in. How many? Let's see here. So there's clearly a guest quarters. There's the residence housing. There's multiple buildings on the estate. We've got gatehouses and boathouses and main houses and servant houses. I guess I don't know exactly where Sasha and Cody are staying. Close enough to Geo.
The stables. The stables is very swank.
Yeah, it could be in the stables. And then what's Geo doing? Practicing his violin next to the horses?
Well, they had went to the boathouse, right?
They had went to the boathouse because they were going to.
They had went to the boathouse. That's so funny to me too that they chose the boathouse because, well, they could have just stayed at the stables. They could have, I don't know, had Jocelyn and Trina moved into that 2-bedroom apartment yet?
Not yet.
Well, they could have been up there.
Damn.
They didn't have to lay on the same little cot that Jason was bleeding on 2 weeks ago. I loved it though. Yeah. I thought it was funny.
Well, we got Rochelle saying that Violet should be nominated for an Emmy, so there you go. We got some backup there. So
they have to bring that child. They'd have to bring the child category back,
unless she's Jodie Foster. Going up against the adults for best supporting.
Well, is there age thing? Is there age stuff in there that you can't?
Not anymore. There was. There was, but
Okay.
they got rid of the younger actor category. So I would say that anybody and everybody should now be available to send their nomination in supporting or
They
lead.
could, but you don't know what the Emmy's going to do. So
No,
they could very well have that category back next year.
they could have it back next year, and if you do submit for best supporting actor or actress, then it's a much wider field as well. When if you're going for younger actor, it's a smaller pond.
Hmm.
So we'll see. We'll see. Like Nick Chavez, for example, he won the best outstanding younger actor, and then he went up for supporting and didn't win that one.
Hmm.
Kind of a different field, so to speak. And that's not to say anything about his talent, but you know.
You know, I don't think she's going to return. But if Hayden shows up, she needs to shut up and get on her way.
So Hayden isn't. I don't think she's coming back just because they mentioned her name or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think she's coming
No,
back.
I'd say no. I don't like. So it's funny you bring that up because Charlie, I think, or Sabrina, somebody in here. Oh, David. There it is. David says Finn needs support, so I wish Hayden was back. I don't know why we think Hayden would support Finn. Hayden's not going to come back and be, oh, baby, let me help you back to health. No. She had her kid and his kid and kept her from him for 5 years.
Mm-hmm. He's not a good person.
They bought a house together, and she just said, and left.
And well,
he was just gone.
But Nicholas was involved in that crap too, right? When she left?
No. It was before that.
That was the first time.
So when I first started watching GH, not first started, but when I really started getting into it and doing the podcasting and stuff 5 years ago, Hayden was on the way out.
Mm-hmm.
She and Finn were together, all that stuff. They bought a house with the big window.
Yes, I remember.
And then one day, she was flipping gone. And it wasn't because of Nicholas. She was just out of there. And I remember him being all sad, sitting on the stairs in front of the big window and reading her letter that she left him. And he's like, I don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward later, she comes back with the whole Jax Nicholas thing.
Yep.
Only temporary, but she's got a daughter, or she had a daughter in tow, or she sent Violet ahead of her, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thing comes around. She gets a little too close in the investigation to what's going on with Nicholas's return to life. She gets the heck out of there due to being intimidated or scared over something. I don't remember the exact detail. But she goes into hiding so deeply that nobody can find her. Too deeply, I think they said, because only a couple of months later the whole storyline ended. But they couldn't tell Hayden that she doesn't have to hide anymore because they couldn't find her. So with all of that, I just don't see Hayden as the character to come back and be like, oh, baby, let me take care of you. For the benefit of our daughter. Like I don't see that in Hayden.
And I don't have a whole lot of compassion for people that abandon their children.
Yeah, she abandoned
just
the heck out of the kids. She really did. She really did. I think they also had to for weeks be like, I don't know. I think mommy's just done traveling. It really couldn't tell her for a little while, and then finally was like, I don't think your mom's coming home. Something like that. Hayden got Finn through his dependency, says David. She wouldn't today. There's nothing that Hayden has shown me Finn-wise over the last 5 years that makes me think she gives a SHIT.
I don't even think she sent a birthday card or made a phone call.
Yeah, where was the birthday card for Violet or something?
I don't think she's done anything. Now they could somehow bring Hayden back and explain this. Why
go to all that work? Why go to all that work? Here's let's strip the story off. If we're trying to serve the characters, okay, yeah, I do that work. But if you're not just trying to serve the characters, we take it off. We take a look at it as a television program. Is Rebecca Boudin going to bring an audience? Probably not. Is she going to be reliable to be useful on contract for longer than 12 months? Probably not.
No.
What does she add to the show beyond being a helpful role for the exiting character? Not much. They can stick her with Elizabeth, but Elizabeth has so many other current things that they could be doing that to bring Hayden back in is just new, fresh story, a new direction, and more time taken away from Trina. So, I don't know. They could do it. Why not? Maybe Rebecca Boudin already called them.
I don't know.
I don't know, man. Tatum O'Neal 2.0. What is that, Melissa?
Hayden O'Neal won a Oscar at only about 12 years old as well
Oh, there you go. There you go.
for Paper Moon. It's a good movie.
Oh,
And
gosh.
her lead and the other lead in it is her dad, Ryan O'Neal.
Oh, well,
It's
hey.
a good movie. Paper
Oh,
Moon.
well, I might have to check it out at some point. Lashunda thinks that Brooklyn was wrong to tell Sonny Finn's business. There's already been a little bit of a disagreement in the chat about that. I'm gonna lean on the disagreement side. Simply because Brooklyn is allowed, I think, to have friends and confidants and people that she can talk to about things that are affecting her life, even if they're about somebody else. I think Sonny's that type of person. Now, is Sonny also kind of untrustworthy? To a degree. But also at the
Yes,
same
but
time,
Brooklyn currently does trust him, though.
but Brooklyn does trust him, and the untrustworthiness that Sonny, like the extra untrustworthiness, I should say, that Sonny is displaying to people who are close to him is new, and not the man that Brooklyn really knows.
And
Who has
Brooklyn
been,
hasn't seen him have, this
she was
behavior.
gone. She heard
Yeah,
about
she
the
hasn't.
incident, but she
Yeah,
didn't see it.
she didn't see it though,
Yeah.
and to hear about it and witness it you're going to get a different emotional response.
Yeah.
Hearing it or seeing it.
They're confidences and all that sort of stuff, but even people who sign NDAs and have promised to never say anything and, all that sort of stuff still tell their wife, still tell their closest uncle, still have a conversation with their brother about it. So it's not super uncommon for somebody to break a confidence with a close friend or the brother of your husband or something when you're looking for your own support in the situation, because this really is blowing back on Brooklyn, and she's going to have to step up in a major way for Chase because she's involved in that family. If it wasn't for the marriage and the wedding and all that kind of stuff, Brooklyn would not even be close to having a responsibility to Violet.
No.
Not
But
when she really reached for it.
But I think that we've already been shown that she does have that capability. Look what she did with Bailey Lou. Yeah.
David said,
and I think even though they're a brand new married couple, I think this is strengthening them.
oh, absolutely. You got to give them something to bond over. You can't just love each other because you love each other. So often in TV, especially in shorter programs like a primetime program, that only has 8 to 10, 12 to 15 episodes now. That whole, well, I love you is not earned by characters anymore. It's because they're the two characters that are written to love each other by the end of it, Unless you take, Bones, for example, which is an old example now. Where they took a whole 9 years out of their 12 to finally get the two of them together and all that. Like, you still have that on occasion, but for the most part, in episode 1, who is the romantic battle. Yeah. And by the end of the season, or by the season premiere, or midway through season 2 or whatever, that these two people are probably going to be together. It's very much written on the wall, and a lot of this stuff, in my opinion, isn't necessarily earned through action, but more just created through writing. And with soaps, you have an opportunity to not do that as much as possible. So, all that to say, Hayden's not right for Finn. All that to say, Brooklyn and Chase need situations to continue their togetherness. Because otherwise, in Soapland, if you don't have something happening, the characters naturally will start to drift apart.
Because it's not exciting.
It's not exciting. There's no anchoring between them. There's no real reason to have scenes between the married couple if they're not going through something.
Happiness is a story killer for a soap opera.
What's a story killer? Because there's nothing to talk about. It's not soapy. I'm sure it's TV. Sure, you could do it. Sure, there is a way to make it happen and make it entertaining, but not in Soapland, not in daytime. That's not what we're trying to do. Morning,
and especially not a couple that's in his 30s. They're in their 30s.
Yes,
they got to be in their 80s for that bliss.
Still so young and pretty. They need drama. They need disagreement. They need, why are you ruining Violet with all your money? I'm just trying to make her happy. Whatever it is that they need to do for tension between Brooklyn and Chase, I'm totally here for. And so long as it's tension about what is the right thing to do for Violet, it's not tension about I'm cheating on you. You're too rich for me. You're actually such a slob. Your life is, hey dad, your life is too dangerous. All of the other beats that other people have played in their romances and relationships. Sonny's the cheater. Sam just got over the Dante has a dangerous life story.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff. So I'm here for it. I'm looking forward to it. I want to see it. Plus, I think that Jofia Love does deserve to stay on General Hospital.
Oh, I hope she
Just because
does. I hope
just
she
because it
does.
looks like Michael Easton is on the way out doesn't mean that Jophiel has to be as well.
Well, I think the character of Finn needs to go for needs to go to rehab, and not the kind of rehab that you leave.
No, one that you stay in, like a Betty Ford for 3 months. See, the
Yes.
big question though is like, so if he does decide himself to go to rehab, or somebody bashes him over the head and throws him in a white van and they take him to rehab or whatever it is that happens, I'm just very curious, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, how do we keep Finn from coming back home? Because it would make total sense for him to be like, I'm done, I'm out, I'm going back to life. Maybe they'll have figured something out by then and Michael Easton can come back. But that's my only question.
But
Longevity.
like you said earlier, though, Michael Easton does not have to come back as Finn.
It is very true. John
He can
McMahon,
come
you
back.
never know. John McMahon could be coming back.
Well, that would be good because John McBain was a pretty good cop. And I know, even though Anna's head of the force again, they still bumblers.
Oh, big bumblers, big
They're
bumblers. And
bumblers.
Dante, he's still caught between a rock and a hard place. He could still want to leave the force, and then we'll need a new cop to hang out with Chase. Why not John McBain? And you got Chase and Finn still together. You look a lot like my little brother. Oh, yeah, you look a lot like my old brother. Interesting. Finn can go back to Doctors Without Borders like he was before. That was my original thought, that he might go back to that, but he's falling off the wagon a little hard. And then
maybe after he goes to rehab and he gets himself together, but then that would require a sober Finn to do the same thing as Hayden.
He'd disappear and not come back.
Mm-hmm.
She's fine with Chase. She doesn't need either one of us. I don't see that being Finn's decision on stuff. So curious to see how it all goes on. The preview for next week says that Finn lashes out. So, whatever happens with Tracy, it doesn't seem like it's going to necessarily solve the problem. But I'm still very curious to see what she has to say, because I know Jane Elliott is just going to hit a home run.
Oh man, Jane Elliott, I wish you'd come on the 10th floor, girl. Oh boy, it would be so fun to talk to you. I would love to know how, what's her opinion on the softening of Tracy? Because I just love it. She's like, one moment she's Lila, one moment she's Edward, and she can tap into whichever one she needs at the moment.
Isn't it great?
And she's always correct of which one she needs to bring forth.
Yup. It's great. It's wonderful. It's amazing. It's 100% amazing and wonderful and great. And wonderful. I don't know if I said it was amazing and great, but it's wonderful. That's for sure. Well, Chandra still hopes that Michael Easton stays around. We'll see. I mean, I would say that after all this time, it's probably it for Mr. Easton, and he's not going to be showing up as John McBain, but we'll see.
He might pop up on Young and the Restless as somebody. You never know.
Really,
he might pop up on Bold.
Well, when it comes down to it, here's an interesting thing, Ma. Here's a really interesting thing. All right, because we're pretty focused on GH a lot. We got got an eyeball or two on Days of Our Lives, but really this channel has a lot of General Hospital flowing through it. It's because people have the most to say about that show. I don't know if you've noticed that. But online and stuff, people have more to say about GH than any of the other three soaps.
I think I agree with you.
But beyond that, things are shaking up there in Castland and Soapland. And I wonder, Mother, if it has anything to do with the gates.
Well, I think we are going to see some shakeup in Soapland because of the gates. There's just no way that no one's going to hop off one of those 4 soaps and join the gates.
And here's the thing. So it's gearing up. It's supposedly, it's the first date that they gave was sometime in January of next year, 2025, right? Something like that.
As like premiere.
January, February, something like that. There's been a couple of things. January, Martin Luther King Day, any number of different things. Take it all with a grain of salt, because nothing has been confirmed by the network or the studio or Michelle Valjean or anybody that's actually working on the show. Nothing is confirmed. Everything is just rumor, even if it's a really strong, accurate one. You know,
Mhm.
nothing is confirmed. But what is true is that if they are aiming for an early 2025, now would be the time to gather your crew, like Michelle Valjean said on Twitter. Hey, you know, we sent out some feelers, we made some requests, we're putting the team together. Writers, set directors, directors themselves. Who knows? I do see on multiple shows, Greg Vaughn, General on Days, even though Ari Zucker's thing was completely attached, tied into the Fired EP's stuff, she's also a free agent right now. Bell is a free agent. Sean Douglas is a free agent. Technically, Marshall is a free agent now on General Hospital. Michael Easton is a free agent. There's talk that Mara West may be looking at the end of her contract on GH as well. Which just makes me think, without any sort of confirmation or knowing what's really going on at all, folks, these people may be opting to not renew their deal with a handshake agreement for a new deal on a new show coming. Speculation, speculation, speculation. But it's happening so much. I see a number of these actors becoming a little more available than they had before.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Yeah. Who knows?
So if they, so right now is more like Matt said, they'd be hiring crew, getting all their background stuff, their directors, their producers. They'd be doing all that
really
stuff.
Creating the Bible for the show, figuring out what it is. We have the main family that we advertise this thing on. It's going to be about a black family in a gated community in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. But what about beyond that? Who is in the family? How many members of the family are there? Is it a nuclear family? Is it a divorced family? Is it a remarried family? Is grandma living there? Is grandpa living there? Is grandma and grandpa living on their own and they're actually super rich and you're middle class? Like, we're trying to figure out exactly what all of this means right now. Development means development from ground zero.
But, and of course, with most soap operas, they're not going to want to, they're going to want to have a few episodes in the can by the time the first episode airs.
They want to, I would say they would want to have it at the very least as much as GH has in the can.
Exactly.
At the very least. If I was starting a new soap, though, I would go for more than 5 weeks. I would go for 2 or 3 months.
I would too. And it doesn't make sense either. Hollywood pretty much takes 2-3 weeks off in December, you guys.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Christmas. So, for to even just be 4 weeks ahead, 5 weeks ahead, they would have to start filming around Thanksgiving. They're not going to do that.
No, I would expect the earliest would be February, not January. Because it also, if it is, going to be one of the more politically minded, progressive thinking soaps that is trying to bring in that vocal audience that exists on social media right now, that's looking for social justice and looking for these stories to be told and looking for prominent people of color to ascend to, strong lead status on the show. Right. Then I would say aiming for February would be very appropriate thematically.
Oh, I think so too.
For Black History Month. So it's entirely, but again, I'm not developing the show. These are just the things that I would be thinking about if I did.
It makes complete sense.
Yeah. So we'll see. I would want at least 2 or 3 months in the can, because I think 2 or 3 months is enough for you to confidently have enough material out there to handle a hiccup. And then also not so far ahead that you can't make an adjustment.
Well, Matthew, can you think of an actor? I have one in mind who I really want to see on the gates.
Well, Angie, of course.
Yes, I want Debbie Morgan to be the matriarch.
Mouth, I think Debbie Morgan is one of the prominent names out of people's mouths when they're talking about the gates.
I want Debbie Morgan to be the matriarch of the gates.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, I'm sure a lot of you saw it, and I know you saw it, Matt.
Yeah, digging in the dirt. It's our favorite Angie reference, right?
Angie digging in the dirt. Oh my gosh.
And I love
it was one of the most heart-wrenching things I've ever seen on soap operas.
I love to use that reference too, because that was part of Angie's 4th run on All My Children, like the final run and the last year of AMC that were wrapping up the storylines and all that stuff. This was an 80s Angie, from the height of Angie and Jesse. This wasn't Generations or The City or all of the other opportunities that Debbie Morgan had to play Angie. This was her most recent foray into it, and it was still just as amazing and compelling as it ever had been. And what a testament to the true talent that Debbie Morgan has.
Yes,
Ugh.
and I would actually, I would be okay with Mr. Gossett jumping onto the gates. I would.
Yeah, I wouldn't, listen,
I think it would be so good for him,
I
actually.
am not so married to these shows and how they are structured right now with the people who are on it and the characters who are on it right now that I would be mad or upset or decide to turn it off because someone left. Just
Oh
because
no.
someone left doesn't mean the show is over. The show is still going to continue on. There's still going to be stories. There's still going to be drama. So I'm all for it.
Sure.
Move to another
Sure.
show and make that amazing too. Win more
You know,
Emmys, Mr. Gossett.
with actors, with anybody, I kind of feel like, well, I do feel this way. People aren't. These are just personal career choices.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter what you're actually doing.
No.
We all make personal career choices.
Yeah, Chandra just said so right here. From an employment standpoint, she says, and hey, if you're looking for a Jedi job-seeking master, it is Coach Chandra for you. Check her out. From an employment standpoint, keep your options open, she says. I'm not mad at the actors. Can you imagine the Gates having an all-star cast right out the gate? Ba-dum-tsh. Wouldn't that be amazing?
I think the Gates is going to do fabulously well.
I do too. Melissa says that the Gates can be perfect, but it's never going to compete long term with General Hospital, she says. So we'll see. She says, I've known Tracy Q for my whole life, and she supports character loyalty. She'll watch Gates if Mara is on. So again, it is a new attempt to get into a very old genre with people who are very set in their ways, with their likes, their dislikes, their preferences.
We might see Michael Easton on there.
That's the whole reason I brought it up, is because Michael Easton now, who thought that he was going to be leaving GH, if it's true? It just looks like it's true. That's why I'm speaking like it is. Who would have thought that he was going to? I didn't think he was going to. I didn't imagine a GH without Michael Easton.
No.
I haven't really imagined a GH without Ava either, but if you were to take Ava and Mara West off, there's still a show. There's still a good detailed show. I would prefer to still have Ava. I like Mara West being on General Hospital. I enjoy what she brings to the stories and her relationships with the cast and how she performs and all that sort of stuff. But if Mara West leaves GH and shows up on the Gates, that's okay to me.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, career choices are career choices. Have I ever jumped a ship for a different ship, but the ship is still a ship? Oh, hell yeah, I have.
Heck yeah. Oh gosh. Angie and Jesse started on All My Children. They sure did. Let's see, they went on to The City, says Chandra. And then Abe from Days actually left Days of Our Lives briefly to join Generations. So it's happened before, is the whole point. Prominent actors who you never think leaving a show. Abe from Days leaving for another soap. Right? And then, we've seen it before too, okay? Jeannie Francis is Leo's mom. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, is she?
Jeannie Francis was the original actress to play Diana Colville or something on
Oh
Days
my
of Our
gosh,
Lives,
over on Days?
which is Leo's mom. They've got a new actress
Leo
now.
said this week he was going to go see her in the prison too.
Yeah, she's gonna be on. The character is gonna be on next week. But the actress who originated it is Jeannie Francis.
Oh my goodness, I did not know that.
So, just for example, we've seen these faces on other shows before, but you guys know that. I don't need to explain it to you. So I'm looking forward to it, and I just find it interesting that these deals seem to be coming to an end. Around about this time, the Gates is looking for their crew and their partners and their cast and such. I can't say that they're gonna do it. I can't say that they've received an offer or anything like that. But I just find it interesting timing.
Sure.
And it could just be the end of the characters too. We have new head writers, a new head writer, new head writer, new head writer, new head writer every 6 weeks practically now.
Man. Boy, oh boy, they got a revolving door of the head writers.
They sure do. But with that is, well, here's Chris and Dan's vision. Well, here's the Scab Writers' vision. Well, here's Chris and Dan's vision again after the Scab Writers. Well, here's Elizabeth and Patrick's vision. Well, now here's just Elizabeth's vision. Like, like we've been starting.
That whole revolving door gets off its hinges soon.
And you can kind of see it bleed into the show as well, where things get started and then they take a little bit of a right turn or a left shift or something like that. Jagger, I think, is a good example. He came in hell-bent, sunny, 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 sunny. Pikeman, 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 Pikeman. Well, I'm going to leave town and I'm just going to miss you, Carly. Where did that come from?
I'm sorry, but I think General Hospital is just, I don't think they know what to do with Jagger now.
No. Whatever the original plan was for the whole war, essentially, between Jagger and Sunny, because they were giving it to each other.
Oh yeah, they sure were.
Aaron and Jagger and drugs and you're a bad
And
man.
I used to love the way he would refuse to call him John, of course, like a lot of people don't. But the way he said Jagger, the way Sonny said Jagger.
Right. But all of that seems to have shifted. Like the focus of that story seems to have shifted to something else. While you can explain, the manic and depressive shifts between Sonny and being undermedicated, he was definitely running in one direction of alienation and destruction and becoming just the worst mafia kingpin of all time, and all of that is much softer now. And his friends, while still, Jason and Carly, them, his only friends, while they were always like, something's wrong. Now they're like, something's really wrong with our dear good friends, Jason. We need to sacrifice everything to help Sonny because we love him so much and he deserves it. Like it's different. The energy there and why they're trying to help Sonny or trying to investigate what's going on is different. It's softer is the best thing that I can say. The whole thing is not a closed fist anymore, more of an open hand. And that's the difference between Vision.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can be any clearer than that. If anybody was unclear. And so it's just interesting to see these shifts, these changes. Jagger's like I said, a great example of that. And we'll just have to continue to see the direction of stuff.
I've seen some rumblings on social about people are tired of the Pikeman storyline. So is Mama Cat.
I think at this, how do I say this without making a wrestling reference? I'll just make a wrestling reference. There was this thing called the NWO at one point, which you even know who it is. Big storyline. Hulk Hogan was the bad guy. All sorts of, late 90s, just huge wrestling attention thing. NWO. And that's a story that was very popular and kind of changed the face of professional wrestling and pushed it into pop culture again after it had died in the 80s and all that sort of stuff. And the reason why that worked is because it was good, it was compelling, it was detailed, they had direction, they had momentum. Every week led into a new development, a new surprise, a new shock, a new turn, a new bad guy, a new good guy, some sort of interesting thing that kept people going and engaged. And eventually NWO got more famous than WCW, which is the real company it was a part of. And then now, if you were to talk to anybody about that, they go, oh yeah, that group that was really good in the beginning and then just disappeared. Because the head writers changed. The momentum shifted. The focus changed. All of this stuff got in the way, and it was like a death of 1,000 cuts. We're going to pull this little plot point out there. We're going to shift this over here. We're going to move this character over there. We're going to give this person over here a new rivalry, new attention somewhere else. And eventually all of that meat inside that story has rotted away because it wasn't being refrigerated. It wasn't being taken care of. It wasn't being seasoned. It wasn't being prepared. It wasn't being hammered and thrown onto the grill and then served. It just died. Yeah. And that's what we're dealing with.
And when it just lay there turning into leather.
Yes. And it's too much sun, Hulk Hogan. So the same thing with Pikeman. It's just there has not been enough development happening in the story to maintain momentum and interest.
And they've steered it too many different ways where it was obviously, well, maybe this will work or maybe this will work.
Jagger has, at this point, Jagger has taken all of his authority away from himself just in the writing of it with how quickly his mind is changed as to who Pikeman is. Because they've changed it too many times. But, he's like, oh, it's Sunny. Oh, it's not Sunny. All right, fine. Well, then it's Brennan? Nope, it's Anna. Like, what? Why? Why is it Anna, Jagger? Well,
oh my gosh. What is going to happen to Valentine when I do believe that Valentine is Pikeman.
Yeah, Valentine is absolutely Pikeman.
No,
100%. This also
what's
could
going to
be.
happen? What's going to happen to Valentine when everybody, especially, Valentine is behind the quarter dosing of Sunny.
Yes, Valentine's behind the quarter dosing. Here's the thing, Mom. Michael. So Finn is drinking himself off the show. Valentine is Pikeman and is quarter dosed Sunny and is lying to Anna and manipulating the whole situation and working with Brennan and all this sort of stuff. Ava
Yep.
sent the government, the courts after Alexis. She's also responsible for snaking up to Sunny and all sorts of different little things. There are three characters that have a wide door for an exit on General Hospital right now:
I think
Valentine,
we don't,
Ava, and Finn.
and I think we're going to see that,
And I
guys.
think that we're going to see those three exits. Because
And I
really,
think we're going to see, we know there is a big character returning. We know that.
and so that's the thing.
And I think we'll have somebody else coming up aboard too.
Who knows? I don't know. You do kind of need to make room sometimes. If you have a big, massive return, you have to make a little bit of room. Because what are you going to do? What are you going to do with Ava? We'll just keep her around for something. Like, no, that's not doing a character service, and that's keeping Mara West chained to the GH desk and not allowing her to do anything else.
No.
It's not the kind of show they're doing.
Is she on contract coming up to an end?
I believe so. I think that why this stuff is coming up is because their contracts are coming up to an end, and there seems to be some rumbling that they might not be interested in re-signing, or the show might be done with the characters for now, which is a strange thing to say because you can always come up with a story. But also at the same time, sometimes you've told as many stories as you can from that character's point of view.
Well, when it comes to, I think out of those three, I will miss Maura the most.
I would absolutely miss Maura West the most, but I would miss Maura West, not necessarily Ava. So if I get Maura West somewhere else,
I was there.
then I will watch it.
Maura West, oh my gosh, she's just so dang good. Yeah. One of the best soap opera actresses I've ever seen.
Really? Yeah.
Like we've said on the 10th floor before, anybody in a scene with Maura West
is their best self.
Yes.
We talked about it all the time when it came to Marcus Coloma. Interpretation of Nicholas was very much like this with everybody else.
He's a breathy fool.
He was doing a scene with
a breathy fool.
Who pulled out the acting chops of everybody that she's worked with, including Marcus Coloma. I liked Nicholas when he was in scenes with Ava. I can't necessarily say I liked Marcus's depiction of Nicholas throughout. I understood what he was going for. I saw the character that he created, but it wasn't necessarily a Nicholas that I would have created, not one that I would have directed. You know what I mean?
I thought Marcus did his best work with Maura.
Absolutely. And then I think I think that Adam Huss brought the best out of Nicholas Alexander Chavez.
Yep. I tell you, the scene that Adam did, that just if they bring back the character of Nicholas Cassadine, I want Adam Huss to play him.
Oh yeah.
I do.
Oh yeah.
The scene where he shows up at Laura's door with the baby with him.
Mm-hmm.
That just the anguish on his face.
Yes.
The anguish on his face when his mom answers the door was just, my gosh, it was so
wonderful.
good.
Wonderful and amazing. And I love it. With all of my heart. So yes, I would absolutely love to see him back. If they were to bring Nicholas back. Here's the thing though, we really do have a rich, full, wide cast. It's just not full of characters' names that people want to hear on their TV sets.
And one of the complaints that a lot of viewers has had, for a long time now, is the cast is too fat.
Right.
It needs a trimming.
It needs a trimming, but also at the same time, oh my goodness, the story would be better served if so-and-so was back on the cast. Like, it's not necessarily the cast is too big, it's just full of characters that people, I guess, these people, at least, are not interested in, because they won't allow themselves to be. I don't find there is no reason, in my opinion, for somebody to need Lulu back when Maxie is there. They're the same character.
Maxie's on fire right
And
now.
Maxie's
I
amazing.
love it.
In my estimation, you probably disagree with me in chat. You might disagree with me, Mom, but Maxie and Lulu are very similar to each other when it comes to characterization. Maybe not maybe more the Julie Berman than the newer one, M. Ryland's interpretation.
Julie Berman is my Lulu.
Right. So
Julie Berman's my
maybe
Lulu,
that,
just like Jonathan Jackson's my Lucky.
I find them to be fairly similar, kind of taking up a little bit of the same space on the show. A story that you can tell about Lulu, you could just as easily tell about Maxie, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes down to it, does Lulu have to come back? Absolutely not. She doesn't have to come back. What's there for her to do other than having to come up with 100% new stuff because Lulu is back? I don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Lucky, on the other hand, you don't have to invent a bunch of new stuff for Lucky.
No.
You don't have to come in, Lucky comes in, and then suddenly now we have to figure out what we're doing with Sam and Dante because Lucky's back. No, you would have to figure out what you're doing with Sam and Dante because Lulu's back. That's for dang sure.
Mm-hmm.
You either need to put a nail in Sam and Lulu forever or break up Dante and Sam.
Yeah.
When it comes to Lucky, if Lucky is on his way back, if Greg Vaughn is indeed this mystery actor that Frank Valentini was referring to, you don't need to move a whole lot of pieces for that. Michael Easton's already on the way out, liberating Liz.
Yep.
Laura is embattled embedded in steep political controversy.
Yeah, she is.
That she might need her son to come rescue her from. Or at least maybe she'll find her way out of the office and now she needs some support from family members who come back to town.
Or maybe she'll let Crazy Heather out of jail and then Crazy Heather will do something to her and Lucky has to show up and fall through a skylight and save her ass.
Maybe
I don't know.
Maybe Crazy Ass Heather will do something to Ace and Lucky has to jump through the skylight like you said. On top of that too, my son is growing up. My son is no longer this 8-year-old being distracted by Power Rangers and dinosaurs anymore. He's asking me every time we Skype or are on Zoom, hey Dad, when are you going to come for a visit? Hey, I'm starting high school. Hey, I've got a crush on this boy named Tobias.
Mm-hmm.
My kid is starting to live a life. Now, he missed the formulative years. He missed the fun years. He missed the play on the merry-go-round and all that kind of stuff. But Lucky was also a crazy drug addict and drunk. So I don't know if this was the right speed of life for him. But now that things are a little bit more lively, now that from a TV production standpoint, there's more reason to have Lucky back in the life of his kids.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Greg Vaughn really is on his way back. And that would explain why maybe Mara West or Michael Easton is going, because Greg Vaughn is not cheap. Let me tell you that.
Well, I would be, I'd rather have Jonathan Jackson, but I thought Greg Vaughn did a good job of portraying Lucky.
I learned recently that Jonathan Jackson will not accept a project that is not about God.
Okay.
So I don't think GH is necessarily going to tick that box while he's interested in having that box checked. Not unless he comes back as Priest Lucky.
Yeah, but if he feels that strongly, if he's feeling that strongly, he wouldn't agree with the stories being told on the soap opera.
No, absolutely not. No, I didn't ask him. He didn't tell me this himself. This is just something that I heard that he said. And I read it on Twitter, so you take that with a whole hand of salt. But and
for the last few years too, he's been more vested into his musical career than anything else.
I think Nashville was a great cap to his acting career.
I think so too.
Because it was a blend
and
between his
Nashville,
passions.
And he was good on it.
Yeah, it was a blend between his passions, right? Music and acting all found in one. Nashville did it longer than what's her name, because Connie Britton, she was she didn't make it when they moved it over to the Nashville network or whatever it was, right?
Well, her character had died.
Well, yeah, spoiler alert. Yeah, because she was like, I'm a star on regular TV, not on deep cable. I quit.
Yeah, well, you weren't looking very forward, were you?
She sure wasn't, Connie Britton. Nope. True, Mama Cat. I don't know what was true, Mama, but you spoke it.
I want to be right.
I'm ready for Sonny's Meds storyline to be done. Here's the thing. That story, yes, it's time for it to be done. And I would say it's attached to what I had said before when it comes to momentum and life inside of the story, like just like the Pikeman thing. Not enough has happened. There's not been enough content with this story for it to maintain interest. I really can't explain it better than that. I hope that they figure it out. And I hope that it becomes amazing. And I hope that it's just... We just need to stop switching who's in charge of the story. That's really what GH is suffering from the most. It isn't too much Carly. It isn't too much this. It isn't too much that. It isn't because they have too many cast members or anything like that. It's simply because, like I just said, the vision is changing every 6 weeks. And until they can get to 12, 18, 24 weeks of the same momentum, you know, and hopefully we'll get that.
If you set the reset button too often, all you're going to have is a hodgepodge mess.
What happens, Mama? I don't know if you remember this, because technology has grown since then, and your kids are a lot older now. But what happens if you did not treat your Nintendo game cartridge with the respect it deserved? If you just jammed it in there, pulled it out, turned it on, shut it off, hit the reset 50,000 times, jiggled it in the thing, and spit all over it, what would happen? That thing would stop working.
It didn't matter how many times you blew on it. It wasn't going to work.
That thing would just not work anymore because too much had happened to it, or too much time had passed. You didn't maintain it properly. You didn't give it the love that it needed, and then that Nintendo game cartridge wouldn't work anymore. Same thing when it comes to a story on a soap. It's alive. It breathes. It needs food. You need to feed it. And you feed it with emotional trauma and turmoil and surprise and angst.
And some kind of continuity as well.
And some kind of continuity. And that's another thing that's suffering a little bit right now. Because the vision is changing every 6 weeks, the continuity is a little wonky. Example being Jake. You could explain it. You can always explain it. You can always say why it is using the logic of the show. You can always apply something to it, even if it's not really there, even if it's not the reason, even if it's just, well, because that's what we decided to do, like Jake calling Jason. You can say he picked his mom over his hatred for Jason every single day of the week. And I will respond with, he didn't need to call anybody but Elizabeth. What the hell? Well, I need my dad to protect my mom from Finn. That's not where Jake's head was.
No.
That was to inspire a scene between Elizabeth and Jason dipping their feet in a pool and talking about the future and setting something up for the future.
Yes.
But in order to do that, they kind of had to like kneecap Jake in his story by having him call Jason, which in my opinion is something that he wouldn't have done. Aiden, absolutely. Well, I can't call my dad, so I'm going to call Jake's dad.
I thought actually, I thought the phone call to Jason wasn't as weird as being so concerned about the vape, wanting to fist fight his brother over a vape, and then go and get in the beer himself.
Well, there you go. That's another example. It's as if you know, I don't want to say negative things. I don't want to say, well, this writer wasn't paying attention, or they misunderstood the story, or they picked the wrong character. But just little things like that, little continuity beats, which I don't mind if it's been 10 years, you know? Oh, you know, like that whole Carly went back to Florida and then they sort of rewrote the death of that person who followed her to town, who died in a car accident or something. But on the show, she hadn't, and she stuck around for a while and gave Carly hell. But when they revisited it, she had died. And all of that other stuff didn't happen. It's been 10 years. I don't care. It's totally fine. Let's serve the story that we're telling now, all that sort of stuff. But when it comes to 6 weeks ago, 10 weeks ago, 3 months ago, within the same calendar year, we need to be a little more careful, in my opinion. I'm also trained by pro wrestling, though, folks. And if you're not a wrestling fan, then you're not really going to get this. But in order to be a wrestling viewer, you have to be an extremely forgiving viewer. Because all it takes for somebody to be a bad guy into a good guy, and now you accept them as the good guy and you love them and they're totally redeemed and your favorite wrestler. The only thing that needs to happen is their music needs to play at the right time. The only thing that needs to happen. If the Rock is getting beat up and suddenly the $1 Million Man's music starts and Ted DiBiase runs down there and saves the Rock from being beat up, even if the $1 Million Man had been hated for 25 years, he is now everybody's favorite wrestler, and it took 5
quick
seconds.
heel turn.
well, in that case, face turn. Same thing with the heel turn, too. All you have to do is hit your friend with a chair, and suddenly you're the most hated wrestler of all time. This stuff in wrestling takes a second. And because I've been trained as that sort of viewer, I'm able to take these things that they just decide to do, these little changes to history, these little, maybe, well, now I'm thinking this way, even though historically I haven't shown that. I'm just able to take that and move with it because I have a lot of experience liking or disliking The Rock, depending on who he was beating up. So, anyway, watch wrestling, folks. It makes soaps a lot easier. But yeah, if Greg Vaughn might be on the way back. You said somebody else. You mentioned another potential return. Do you remember who you might have been referring to? Was it a lady or a dude? Doesn't matter. Oh, was it Frisco?
No, I didn't mention Frisco, but Frisco sure did come up a lot this week.
So that's another speculation that they might have been able to actually convince what's his name to come through town to kind of support the because he's WSB guy, right?
Didn't he just get fired?
He had just gotten fired, but now we don't.
Brennan took his place.
But who's in charge now? Could be Frisco again, for all I know.
Could be Frisco
So the
Jones.
WSB thing with Pikeman, with Anna, with Valentine, with all this stuff that's going on, Jagger, yada yada yada. Maybe even Jason joins the WSB when all this is done, like people were speculating. All that sort of stuff is open for Frisco to return. Then we've got Maxie dating Spinelli. Spinelli hacking into the FBI database, which Frisco could find out. And now he's put in a position where he's like, well, what do I do about my daughter's boyfriend? Like, there's story that exists right now that you can insert.
My granddaughter's dad.
Yeah. There's story right now that you can insert Frisco into that doesn't require inventing a bunch of new story. And I think that's a key thing when it comes to wanting a character to return. Bringing back Morgan requires so much new story. You know, like,
I've heard a lot of speculation about Morgan coming back.
I think that's just because Brian Craig was trolling a little online.
I think it was trolling too. I think he was being a little Ken Shriner, just putting some crap out there. A little
Ken Shriner. I think that there is a small chance for a Brian Craig appearance on the show, with Sonny being at his wit's end in some sort of psychosis. Because it's not like Sonny hasn't seen visions before. Last time I remember him seeing a vision, it was because Sam shoved him into a hole because she was going crazy, and he wound up seeing.
Oh, I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah. So Sam was having a dissociative personality issue because she had been having trouble rectifying Jason's involvement with the mafia, his continued involvement. And this was Billy Miller Jason too. Because Billy Miller Jason was like, I'm out. Right? And that's when he bought Aurora Media and all that kind of stuff. And it was like really obvious. Oh, you're not really Jason, are you? But in that, Sam started to have problems because she knew Jason was on the way out, but it was also so hard for her to like rectify that she would like convinced herself that he was still in and Sonny was responsible.
Yeah.
And so she would see these visions and hear these things that weren't true, convincing herself that Sonny's a problem. Then finally she shoves him into a hole on a construction site.
I forgot about that. She shoved him in that hole. She fell
shoved
through
him. It wasn't a oops, I'm sorry.
It
wasn't an accident. It wasn't I slipped in and she didn't save him. No, she was like, yeah.
Yeah, she did.
Shoves him into the hole. He's down there for a few days because the construction site had gone down or something. They was shut down and they weren't working on it for a while. Nobody knew he was in this hole. Carly can't find him. They're concerned. And then he sees Stone. Stone helps him because he's got a broken leg or something like that.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. So we could see
Stone
something
convinced
similar.
him to hold on.
So maybe we'll see something similar. Maybe he'll see Morgan in a dream or in some sort of deep psychosis or in a drunken stupor or something like that. You know? I would say that is the most likely Brian Craig appearance.
Do you remember a few years ago when Cameron visioned his dad?
Yes. Yeah, Xander.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jack Wagner. Thank you very much, Lashunta.
There you go, Jack Wagner. I was trying to think of it too, and I wasn't thinking.
Melissa says, well, Morgan's actor has been posting pics from set. Morgan's actor has been posting pictures from set that he's not in, nor is anybody else. I would not put it past somebody to say, hey, can you take a couple of pics from set today? Because I'm really having fun with this joke online. He's not in the photos. Nobody's in the photos. I would say that that's not any sort of evidence at
Time will tell for all of us.
At all. Now, I'm willing to be wrong though. You know why I'm not like on the oh yes train is because I don't know him. I didn't see Morgan. I didn't watch Morgan. I haven't seen a single Morgan story. I started really watching intently after he had died, like a year after he died or a few months after he died. One of the first things I saw was Ava burned.
Yeah.
And that was a few months at least after the death of Morgan.
Yeah. I'm on board for him to coming to his dad in some kind of vision.
I think that's the most likely thing.
You know, whatever.
I do. I really do think that's the most likely thing.
Especially since they shared a storyline of bipolar.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So what do you think? What do you think about this, Ma? There's not so bad after all. So would you say that's trying to get like Scotty in like the defensive position of Heather versus like Alexis's opposition? Like where are we going with Scotty in this, do you think, Ma?
I think what value Scotty has in this storyline is he does know Heather from all those years ago.
He has kids with Heather.
He even had a child. He knows Heather, good, bad, ugly, and then
so instead of it just being Laura, who's like, well, maybe she's not. Well, maybe there's a chance. Well, maybe it was this metallosis. Now we also have Scotty, who knows her presumably better than Laura does. Also now saying the same thing. Well, maybe it was the metallosis. I mean, she's always been a little crazy, but not this crazy. You know?
Yeah.
So just more evidence, more support for, well, we're going to take the knife out of Heather's hand. And I really feel, folks, once again, you know, we've talked about this before on the podcast. I do feel as though the extent of the storyline simply is taking the knife out of Heather's hand, not taking the crazy from her.
Yeah.
Because when you have Heather the killer, Heather the hook killer, Heather the poisoner, Heather the one who's responsible for the death of all of these characters, anytime she shows up, your question is, who is she going to kill? Who is going to be injured? Who's going to be stabbed, shot, or otherwise? But if you take the metallosis away and take the hook out of her hand, now when she comes into town after stealing Ace, presumably, and not sticking around to be a good grandma, presumably, now when she comes back into town, the question isn't who is she going to kill, but who is she going to mess with? Who is she going to bother? Who is she going to get in the way of? And it's not who is she removing from the show, and it's more how is she going to cause a problem for somebody that we enjoy. On top of that as well, if you're not running around stabbing people, we don't have to arrest you. You can just leave.
I don't know what they're wanting to do with Allie Mills and Heather. I don't know what they're wanting to do.
I'm not sure they know either anymore.
I don't think they do either.
Hello,
they really are at such a crossroads. They need to stop changing the draw so often. We're saying Jones for a minute.
Sincerely, that is the biggest problem that they have. That is the problem with General Hospital right now. And it's not like I just said a moment ago. It's not there's too much of this, not enough of that. It's just the change in the direction, and who is making the decisions is changing too rapidly. And it's whatever, you know, I'm going to say that most of it is beyond their control. A lot of it's under their control. They couldn't control the strike, but they can pretty much control everything that's happened after that. And it hasn't been pretty.
Well, I'm hoping we see a little settling of the dust there.
I would like to see it too. I would like to see Elizabeth Corte be the just not because I love her the most or anything. It's just simply because she's who's in the position now, and I don't want it to change again. So just keep Corte in the big chair. If you feel like she needs an assistant, go ahead and pick somebody. But have them be the assistant co-head writer and not the co-head writer. Let's see what it's like to have one person working with Frank and MK and all them, trying to figure out exactly what it is that the pulse of this thing is supposed to be. Especially since when you have two opposing voices in the room, like it seems like we had. I wasn't there. I don't know. But it seems like we had some opposing voices when it came to Patrick and Elizabeth.
Yep.
And now there's only one voice in the room. Let's just keep the one. Let's just keep the one and see what happens there.
I say yes.
I say yes, too. I sure do.
I say yes.
I sure do. Heather will start painting masterpieces in Ava's gallery, says Melissa. All of Bobby's special.
I remember her BLT. Remember her BLT?
Yes. Yes. Charlie thinks that Heather and Cyrus are going to be a couple. We would need Cyrus back on the canvas for that. We haven't seen Cyrus in far too long.
We haven't seen Cyrus in far too long. I agree.
And it's probably for the better because I would prefer people to be around when you have an idea of where they're going and what they're doing. I'm totally okay with taking a break and only having a character around when they matter for the story. I'm totally all right for that. I just would like him to matter in a story. That's all.
Yep, me too.
But, you know, Laura's world is so small right now, and he's the only tie, really, that they have into the greater show, unless he starts to, I don't know, work for Alexis or poke holes in something or is studying to be a paralegal. I want to be a nurse now, or I don't know exactly what they would have to do, but they would have to invent something for Cyrus in order for him to be involved more. And with Laura's current story, which is like the Heather, unless she's going to Cyrus for advice, which she isn't, I don't really know what role he has to play on General Hospital right now. And that has everything to do with changing writers, Ma, because clearly they had a plan when he was getting out of jail, cut his hair, his flock, the hell dream. Also, they had a plan. Somebody had a plan for what they were doing with Cyrus, and that plan is gone now.
Somebody else looked at the plan and went,
right. So no, I think we're going to focus on this instead. Or, ooh, look who came available. Or, ooh, look, it would be great if I could tell a story about this person. You know,
who knows?
Who knows? I don't know. I'm not back there. I'd love to find out, though. So, General Hospital, if you're hiring, I'll send you my resume. It's not a writing resume, but it's a resume nonetheless. Let's see. Gio's on a lot. So that's cool. I like Gio. Gio's just fine. He's a brand new character. We're still getting to know him. Of course, he's going to have some screen time. What are they going to do if they don't spend time on Gio right now? He's going to be Rory because they didn't spend enough time on him.
They have to do some character development.
They got to place him in the family. They got to give him a history, a personality. You got to be able to expect something out of him. That way, you can either be surprised or expectful. On things. And
I do think that we're going to have a Gio surprise of fatherhood because they mentioned his dad already.
Yeah, so his dad apparently had died in Afghanistan, I think is exactly what it was, or had served at least in the army and served in Afghanistan at some point, which was where Drew was. They talked about it extensively, especially when Franco was playing, when Roger Howarth as Franco was playing Drew, the real Drew. They talked a lot about Afghanistan, that sort of stuff. So either Drew is his dad or Drew is his dad's best friend. And Gio's dad is Shiloh because they were army buddies. There you go. Boom.
You never know.
Why not? No,
Why not?
They'll probably invent another character for him. Maybe he's Lucky's kid. I don't know. They'll probably invent another character for him. And then this could be somebody. This could be another new interesting untied family something. We also have Drew running for Congress. Look at me just spinning the story here. This is all the possibilities that the show can go in. Drew's running for Congress, finds out he's got this kid that he didn't know about, or his best friend has a kid that he didn't know about, but then it affects Drew's campaign because his best friend and he were involved in something they shouldn't have been doing in Afghanistan.
Well, and they've already mentioned that, you know, in Drew's everything that's you've ever happened in your life or who you've been affiliated with is going to be brought up and drudged up now.
Boom. There you go. And they even talked to Jason about that, saying, hey, your brother's running for Congress. Well, I don't care. You should care because they're going to be really concerned about you, identical man. Look at the face of the man that used to be. Are we sure it's not really Jason Morgan? Just, oh my gosh, Ma. Just the potential that the show always has. It always has such great potential, and I really, really want them to achieve everything that I dream for them, that they dream for themselves.
Me too.
Gio will be trouble. Dante is the daddy. I don't think that makes sense. And then I just don't see it. Also, why? What does that do?
I don't know.
What does that serve? What drama does that cause other than now Dante has a kid? Okay, cool. What does that do for Dante? What stories does that allow Dante to have that he wouldn't have had with Rocco? You know, like, I'm just...
Yeah.
These are the things that I think about being a viewer, and it's because I'm a super dork and not what I expect everybody else to think about, you know? Like, ooh, wouldn't it be fun if Gio was Dante's kid? Yeah, it'd be fun. You know, I like Dante. I like Gio. It'd be interesting to see them together. But overall, though, you know, the big question is, what does this serve?
Well, the only thing it would serve to, I mean, it would serve, and it's a short serving. It would make Sonny actually helping his grandson.
Right, but when it comes to serving Sonny at that point, though, remember ensemble cast, everything's kind of bleeds into everything else. With Sonny not being the kid's grandfather, that makes his buying off of Gio more insidious.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
You know, but then again, Sonny is not as insidious now as he was 6 to 8 weeks ago. So,
No.
is that direction he isn't? See what happens? See what happens with the wonky writing?
Yeah.
It's a house of cards. It literally really is. When you're dealing with a massive cast such as this, an ensemble cast in which everybody should have their time in the sun, and also it's on 5 days a week, which is more than literally every other television show you watch. Except for Young and the Restless, Days of Our Lives, and Bold and the Beautiful. But it's on so much more. They have so much more time to fill. They have so many more stories to tell that sometimes maybe having such a massive cast is going to work out in their favor. Because really, when it comes down to it, Ma, I mean, I wrote down Sam, Finn, Tracy, Gio, Joss, Dex, Mac is back. Haven't even talked about that yet.
Oh,
Allie,
we got to talk about him.
Yeah, Allie, Christina, Cody, Sasha, Violins, Maxie, Spinelli, Jagger, Carly, Violet, Liz, Alantine, Anna, Natalia, Sunny, Alexis, Diane. These are just my notes, and they're only character names that were on this week.
Yeah.
Holy
and there's
smoke.
a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot. And that's not even half the cast. So, you know, there's a lot of room to tell some really great story, is what I'm saying.
I agree.
I want it to happen. All right, let's talk about Mac, because we're running out of time.
Let's talk about those Scorpios. I loved it. I loved it.
Welcome back, Mac.
John, Matt, welcome back, Mac. And John J., you look good.
Ooh,
you look good.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you who else looked good in that scene, too. Okay, I don't know what was going on with our Kristen. I don't know what was going on with him. The last time we saw him on screen, we saw him in the Metro Court having a meal last time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a little worried for him because he did not look good.
No.
Well, the other day, he showed up at the door there.
Hello,
Robert
brother.
looked fine.
Hello, brother. I'm here to do some...
He looked like his back to his normal self, didn't he?
Yeah, he was just dealing with something. He was dealing with something, as we all do.
Yeah, maybe he went to work with the flu that day. I don't know, but he looked like himself again when
he
they
could have had shingles. I don't know.
Who knows? But he looked like his normal self, and I just loved all that scene. I loved all of it. I just loved all of it.
It really was the best way to bring Mac back. You know, they were just like, "Oh yeah, I've just been gone. Where you been? Doing stuff. Helping a friend. Helping a friend," he says.
I think though, somebody that's going to be coming back is going to be that friend. And I think Mac, I love it. I love it that John is going to get story out of his absence.
Yes, and that's super wonderful. And it really has hopefully reinvigorated the fires of, you know, Cody, Mac, which they've already talked about some. He's talked to Sasha. He's now back. You know, Mac is back in town, all that. They talked about, you know, Gregory just passed away. I saw how that's affected Chase and
he
Finn.
actually talked to Tracy about it too. Tracy didn't put, you know, he didn't tell Tracy the truth.
No.
But he told her the truth about the names.
Yeah. And so, you know, he's slightly concerned about maybe not having the same opportunities in his life that Chase and Finn just, you know, no longer have access to.
Right.
You know, like some reality stuff. I know that you know from your own personal life and personal experience how other people's relationships with their parents can have an effect on you. You know?
Sure.
And so I can totally see that with Cody as well, you know? Trying to find some solace with Sasha, but they can't because Gio's just too dang annoying. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go visit Mac and tell him the truth. And really, when it comes down to it, do you foresee like Felicia being like, "You SOB," or do you foresee her going, "Yeah, of course, I knew the whole time. I'm not an idiot, Cody." I foresee that. I'm not an idiot, Cody.
That might be true. I was just waiting for you to come to terms with it.
Waiting for you to say so. You know,
maybe.
Sometimes these things are just best for the men to figure it out in their own emotional time.
Oh, I need a puke bucket.
I gotta continue to work on it because not only is it high pitched, but she also has a unique way of like forming words in her mouth as well. And it'll take some stuff.
I love Christina Wagner. I love Felicia. But when they put baby talk in her mouth, oh,
it's annoying for you. Oh goodness. Mac and Robert looked like twins in the same shirt. It was distracting.
I loved it.
Oh.
I loved it. I loved it. You know, and I know a lot of it. A lot of the reason why I love it is because Prospect Park has seen so much illness and has had so many tragedies, and just that, you know, the fact that he has recovered and he looks good. Man, Prospect Park needs a good ending so bad in a personal way.
And I think they're going to get it. It seems like they're going to get it. So, I'm thrilled to see it. Very happy to see. You know, we saw a couple picture, 5 weeks ago now, of him back, with Mac is Back t-shirt and screaming into the heavens, cheering with Felicia and stuff. Very nice to see. Even better to see him live and in, on TV person. With his lines and his character, Mac is Back. It is feeding into other story. He was helping a friend, whether this be Lucky because they used to be cops together, or Frisco because of the very unique relationship Mac and Frisco must have.
And he said he saw Frisco and they had a long conversation.
Boom. So maybe he was helping Frisco, maybe he was. And I would be, and if Frisco is not, I would be very curious to see how Frisco and Mac interact with each other. Even if they had before, even if they, in like 2002, Frisco was on and we had a little bit of this story. I didn't see it, so it's new for me.
No, but I did. And Frisco came back home and made a play for Felicia.
And Mac was
get back together with Felicia. And Felicia, ultimately, she did contemplate it. But Felicia, at the end, picked Mac over Frisco.
As she should.
As she should.
But yeah, so I don't really know what that relationship is. I don't know how Mac and Frisco deal with each other, and I think that would be a very interesting, unique relationship. Like, hey, the father of my daughters.
Yeah. Yeah. I just love Maxie's house. And whatever scenes they do in Maxie's house, I enjoy it every time.
Don't you mean Lulu's house?
No, it ain't Lulu's house no more. You don't live there. Maxie's house.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. Even Georgie and James hanging out on the kitchen island have gotten to the point where their dumbass bickering is endearing now. Like, oh boy, are they the Bickersons. Holy smokes. But
they love to bicker, but they're not as they're bickering, silly bickering, but not Maxie. Georgie before seemed mean to her little brother.
Yes. Now it's
and it doesn't seem mean now.
Now this is more just you are
banter.
It's banter. It's big sisterly. It's pretty much what my brother put me through, where it was like
your irritating kind of thing.
Yeah, it was like, but from my point of view, like, will you just shut up? Please. Please just shut up for 1 second and stop filling my mind with all of these things that you see wrong about me. Please. Please. Please.
Well, luckily your brother didn't stay that way.
No. But I'm just saying, everybody has experienced. That wasn't a complaint. That was just an example. Yeah. And I get the same kind of feeling from Georgie too, but also at the same time, it now has that same energy where if somebody were to go after James, Georgie's going to punch that kid. That's my little brother you're talking to. That's the energy that exists in there now that might not necessarily have existed before.
Exactly.
So there's an improvement from the changed, shifting head writer's point of view. The relationship between Georgie and James.
I was that way with my younger brother. I was, you don't touch him. That's my job. No one kicks my brother's ass but me.
There's only one person that's going to threaten to remove your arms, and it's me. Nobody can break a bone except if it's in my hands. Spinelli giving Wheezy Face on prunes, and the aftermath tickled me.
But and we saw Wheezy. She's a toddler.
Yes, look at that. We did get the aged up Wheezy after all. It just wasn't.
We got an aged up Wheezy
that we thought.
And I saw pictures of the little twins that are playing her. They hired a set of twins, so that tells us we're going to see a little more Wheezy Face on than we did before.
Yeah, I mean, for the longest time, we couldn't get rid of Wiley. For the longest time, we couldn't get, and also, I saw this on Twitter. Thank you very much, Brett, for sharing this. Brett on Twitter. He shared that for the first time, the actress who plays Georgie was included in the credits as more than just hear some random person in this role, like as a true guest star.
She reminds me so much of the actress that played Georgie, and a little bit. Call me crazy, I don't know. She reminds me of my own little girl self a little bit.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to call you crazy. I didn't know you as a little girl.
But she kind of looks like me a tiny bit.
Hey,
as a child.
Whatever. I've had no less than 3 people in the last 2 weeks be like, what do I know you from? So I get it.
The white, flat forehead, the profile. Yeah.
I don't know. Do I have a white and flat forehead? I guess I do.
Yes, you do.
Oh my gosh. Oh no, I look just like my grandpa.
You look like your grandpa, and your mother looks just like him. So
it's so
there
silly. It's so weird because, like, you say I look like you, right? But I also have people who are like, you look just like your father, and I'm like, that's the rare one. I don't hear that one very often.
But I think a lot of people. I mean, I've had people my whole life say, "Gosh, you look just like your mom," because they hadn't seen my dad.
Well, yeah, maybe that's the case.
Well, you wouldn't think so if you saw my dad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. One time somebody said I looked like Papa Will, which is genetically impossible. I mean, it's not genetically impossible, but highly unlikely.
Yes.
We don't share.
Highly unlikely.
We don't.
Well, Papa Will has been, if I don't say so, no one has ever guessed that he was not my biological dad.
Yeah, whatever.
If I don't say so, no one ever guessed he wasn't my real father. And he's only 9 years older than me.
Well, people aren't thinking about that kind of stuff. Plus, he's got a bald head, and the bald head adds years, so.
Yep.
Anyway, Mac has been a great stepdad, Felicia's girls, and I see Felicia being ecstatic to be able to do that for Cody. Aw, she gets to be a super mom now.
I do too.
That's wonderful, Melissa.
I want Sasha and Cody to stay together.
Oh,
I want Sasha and Cody to have a wedding on horseback.
I would say what would split up these two would be a major surprise revelation which changes the direction of one of the characters entirely. Sasha isn't really Sasha and has been lying about being Sasha the whole time, for example, which is unlikely. Cody is lying about being Cody, or some sort of secret from his past comes up, like that, or one of the actors is no longer in the show. Those are the only two things that I can see that are really in danger of splitting up Cody and Sasha. I think that those actors get along very well. I think that Sophia Matson now has the blessed opportunity to play something totally different than she has over the last 2 years.
No, and I hope so, because I don't think any of us want to see the continuous anguish of Sasha.
No, I want her to have fun. I think Sophia Matson is incredibly charming and funny when she's with Cody, when she's with Josh Kelly. I think that they're a great pairing together. I don't know exactly where the drama comes from, and that's a problem. I don't know what drama they will have with each other, nor do I know what drama they will put into other people's lives. Even when the whole Mac thing is discovered, I don't know where the drama goes from there. I honestly just don't. So it's going to have to come from some sort of revelation or some sort of new circumstance. But hopefully it's not one that sends Sasha into tears. It's just my hope. So, but I'd love to see them together, and I do want them to stay together for a while.
I do too.
Yeah, and I think that would be also a great way to continue to remember Johnny Wactor. Johnny Wactor, I should actually pronounce his name correctly. But Johnny Wactor,
Yeah.
Have his wife, his TV wife, move on to a happily ever after or something. Give her some good stuff to play. Because it is Johnny Wactor month here on the 10th floor, and it will be all the way through the end of next week.
Yep.
Well, all the way through this week, because the new month starts next Monday.
Next Monday.
Next Monday is the new month. So.
Hey.
Yeah.
Speaking of Pop, well, you mentioned Pop.
Yeah.
Text him today. It's his birthday.
Happy birthday, Papa Will.
Today's his birthday.
Happy birthday. You should have a cake. Not a big one, though. Small. I really enjoy Cody and Sasha, too, says Charlie. I think Charlie also enjoys Carly and Jason together as well.
I think so.
All sorts of
Carly
Big
and
Sam
Jason
stuff.
together a little bit this week.
We do. It's 1 o'clock, though. I mean, we could talk about GH for the next 12 hours, but I do think that we need to stop at some point.
I think so, too. I know, man. Yeah. We were 15 minutes late, but that's still an hour and 45.
Yeah. We're pretty deep into this. So I'm gonna cut it there. And what we can do is really try hard to be on Thursday. And we can spend some
Okay,
time
Matt.
talking about Sam and some time talking about Brandon.
I'm going to text you in the morning, okay?
Okay.
Because last week you just kind of forgot what day it was.
I sure did. I got wrapped up in other stuff.
So I'm going to text you either Wednesday night or Thursday morning and say, hey, you know what? Tomorrow's Thursday or it is Thursday.
Okay. That works for me. And then I'll make sure to not get wrapped up in other business. But, Mama, that business has been turning into marketing and not marketing, but networking somehow. So kudos to that.
I'm excited for you, Matt. I really am. Because, like everyone has said, you don't know what's going to happen. And the fact that you're just, I think what you're doing now and just interacting with people, for you as a person, I think it fits you better.
We'll see. We'll see how it all goes, because it's definitely not rich person making, that's for sure. But if I can continue to impress people like Eliza and Ralph, who knows?
Network.
Yeah. And it was I'll say that it was very validating to have this complete stranger who clearly looked like he knew what he was doing. Who clearly looked like he at least knew people who knew what they're doing. Say, I think you've got a real chance at this.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. And he recorded it on the phone, and I have no idea what he's going to do with that, but he's got my voice on his phone, this person. As I give him a little Victor Cassadine.
Well, if nothing else, Matthew, if nothing else, it was encouraging. He was encouraging you.
He was encouraging, yes. And he had there was no, why? Why would he? Right. Unless it was a genuine thing,
And maybe he does that every time he gets in an Uber. He says, "What's your dream?" And maybe a lot of people don't have one or can't think of how to articulate what it is.
Yeah, it was because I'm like, you get put on a spot for something, you get a little sweaty, get a little nervous. You're like, oh, what's going on? What do I say? What do I do? Especially me, don't put me on the spot. The reason I'm able to do this is because I just start talking and I don't stop. If I stopped, then oh my God, I'd get lost. But it's like, just go, man, just go, just do it. There's no script. It's just me. Don't worry about it. Just blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I do this podcast with him. And he goes, no, just do voiceover. And I'm like, okay. So this is one that I rely on a lot. Anyway,
Maggie.
I'm like, okay, fine. I'm just gonna do it. And he's just talk. Just say whatever's on your mind. It doesn't matter. Entertain me on my way home. Okay. So that's what I did. Anyway, thank you very much, Sandra. Thank you very much, Melissa and Chandra and everybody who's so encouraging in the chat. I appreciate it.
Well, Matt, you just keep on hanging out in the Hollywood Hills, babe.
That's what I'm going to do. Right? Matt's voice is going to end up in Japan, hawking their version of Red Bull, and he'll never know. Maybe. I got to get into this voiceover thing before they perfect the AI voices, which are very close. So
no, hell no, we can't have that.
Well, Ma, in closing of our General Hospital podcast, in the real world here, we're like 2 years away from never talking to a real person on the phone for a company again.
That's sad.
And it's because they now have these talking AI models that sound like people, that take pauses, that take breaths.
Yeah, I've actually even heard of, and I don't know if this is true or not, I've actually heard of somebody getting a phone call from what it sounds like their child in distress, their adult child in distress, and an AI has created their voice.
Well, let's hope that people don't fall for that. But with every development, there's going to be people taking advantage of it and scamming. So just be smart, be mindful out there. Hang up and call back your kid. If there's an issue, just let me call you back real quick to make sure that this is real. Little things you can do to protect yourself on that. But you gotta get into it. But I was talking to the dude over there because we were watching this thing about this AI model, right? And they were showing its amazing technology and its ability to do all this stuff. And they were like, okay, I need you to start a 2-minute timer. Make that a 3-minute timer. Okay. Make that a 5-minute timer. Okay. Make that a 4-minute timer. Okay. Make that a 6-minute timer. Okay. Make that a 2-minute timer. And then it goes, okay, at a certain point. And we're like, did that robot just show annoyance?
That's crazy, right?
Is that robot annoyed at this person?
Crazy. That's crazy.
And why? Like, now here's the thing.
Wait, everybody's turning into data?
Yeah, everybody's turning into data. Now here's the thing. Now either somehow they programmed the ability for this thing to become annoyed by a person, which is bad. or they programmed it to become annoyed after being asked to change something after so many times.
Mm-hmm.
Why? To simulate humanity?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
It's kind of scary.
It's weird. To me, it's weird. To me, I don't know why
It's
you
weird. It's scary. It's weird. It's not good.
If you're going to program emotions into these robots, I would say program the happy ones and not the annoyed ones. That's just me.
I agree. Don't we have enough negativity and garbage already?
We do. Melissa says, that's okay. Don't worry about it. For every job that is taken by machines, we always end up creating a different job to replace it. So just stay vigilant. That's kind of true. I just hope that humanity does well with all the amazing amount of time that we're going to have at our fingertips here in the next few years.
All of us are going to turn into a bunch of damn toads. We're all going to look like Jabba the Hutt. Holy moly.
Jeannie, in the last 2 minutes here, what do you mean? Steve Burton had someone do an AI on a clip of him from the Emmys and used an AI voice. What does that mean, Jeannie? What? Like they changed his speech? He didn't say anything mean about Laura Wright in it, did he? Because that's just wrong if they were to put words in somebody's mouth like that.
Anyway. Oh, I think Steve Burton be mad as hell or something like that. I do.
I mean, yeah, he would. Melissa's happy about the sassy robots because she liked C-3PO and R2-D2 from Star Wars. So. Well, on that fabulous joke that I didn't make, that's it. Get out of here. Get on that elevator. Charlie says,
get
good
on
luck
the
and God bless
elevator.
you, Matt. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Well, thank you for coming and joining us here on the 10th floor. It's time to get on the elevator and get the heck out. We'll talk about Sam at some point, I promise. She's got so much going on.
Okay, we got to remember, well, for one thing, we got to make sure we podcast on Thursday.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about Sam that day a little bit.
We will. We'll talk about Brando. We'll talk about Sam because we got to make sure that we talk about Brando at some point here in the month of Johnny Wactor. So yes. That'll be our focus on Thursday. So come for the Sam talk, come for the Johnny Wactor talk, come for the Brando talk, come for the GH fun, and come and hang out with Matt and Kat. So we'll do that Thursday, probably about 6 p.m. Pacific, maybe a little earlier. We'll hammer out the exact time. 6 p.m. makes a tired 7 p.m. So if we do a little earlier, then maybe we'll have a more
I'm good for 6. I think I like 6 better, actually.
Yeah, okay. We'll figure it out.
I do.
Well, then it's probably going to be then. Anyway, here you go with the elevator. Oh, look at that, an elevator emoji from Sandra. Thanks. All right, everybody, get into the elevator. Out of there. We're done. Thanks for coming, Kelly. Love having you here. Get in the elevator. We're going to go back down to the first floor. We're going to escape the tumultuous world of, I hate it here anyway. You would all be fired if it wasn't for me. We're going to get away from all of that. We're going to go into our cars. We're going to tune our radios to previous episodes of the 10th floor, which you can find on all of your favorite podcasting platforms. And if you cannot find it on your favorite podcasting platform, reach out to me on Twitter. Us on Twitter, really. And we will send you in the right direction.
Send us an email.
Send us an email. You can do that too. 10thfloorgh@gmail.com. 10thfloorgh@gmail.com. That's also our Instagram handle, our Twitter handle, our Threads handle. I don't use all of the social medias as well as I should, but if you want information, X, Twitter, Twix, whatever it is you call it, is going to be your primary source for quick updates for the 10th floor. So give us a follow there. And it's not full of toxicity, as I don't really spend all the time talking about what I don't like, but instead spend the time talking about what I do.
Oh, and you're not quite on there as much as you were because currently you're a little busier than you were.
I am a little busier now too, so I'm not on, which is good because then I'm not being drawn into all of these stupid arguments. And I can just stick to that, to the focus. Like the video if you haven't subscribed to the channel. If you feel so compelled, it is absolutely free to do so and means the whole world to Matt and Kat. We
like it a lot.
Keep up. Thank you for the hundreds of people that clicked on this video while we were broadcasting and spending your time with us. Thank you. I really think that's it. See you on Thursday. See you next Sunday for Days for Dummies and 10th Floor Podcast.
Back on Days. We'll be talking about Days next week.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have a lot to talk about Days because, I learned some stuff about Leo that I didn't know. Who played his mom. There's also the potentiality that John Black might actually be his father. Wouldn't that be something?
Be nuts.
Wouldn't that be something? So, we got to continue to watch Days of Our Lives. And tell your GH11 friends about the show, says Chandra, and I'm going to say that too. Tell your GH11 friends about the show. That's it. I've been Matt.
I've been Kat.
We'll catch you next time right here on the 10th floor. Go spend some time with your families.
Love you guys.